Hello, welcome. This is Teacher Queen. This is lesson 5. It is called A Major Leaguer, Mr. Jackie. I am coming to you again out of all the people, Joy Hakim, A History of Us for our U.S. That's just the book that we're using for our U.S. history. I know I always be trying to start this timer so I don't go over time, but we're going to be talking about um, the U.S. history and how it is so relevant to some of the things that we are seeing in our day in our time. I never thought that I would um, see civil rights and civil liberties being fought up against or contended. I didn't think that in my lifetime that it would happen. I was of the belief that because my grandparents or great grandparents or great great grandparents or my parents' generation had fought for these very same civil liberties and civil freedoms that I was able to enjoy or be a part of. But the thing about civil liberties and civil freedoms is even if we have to continue, if history is repeating itself, then we need to take note that the victory is always on the side of truth and what is best for all. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I am not frightened. I'm not concerned. I'm not worried because, in the end, because of the systems that we have created within government, within our laws, within our bylaws, within our constitutions, whatever you want to say, it just has never worked and it's not going to work. So I am encouraged by that. So let's talk about what we're talking about in lesson 5. We are talking about a major leaguer, Mr. Jackie. So it is 1945 and we are a Jim Crow nation. It is nothing to be proud of, but that's the way it was. And what I mean by a Jim Crow nation is that in the South, everything was segregated: schools, buses, restaurants, hotels, even phone booths. The rest of the country wasn't as blatant about it, but there was plenty of separation and prejudice. I have brought my big handy Oxford dictionary, book bound, strong, right? Because I love dictionary.com and I don't have anything against it. But y'all, it is something about turning these pages, baby, to get where you hear this. You hear that? You hear that? Oh, yes, 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 yes. I get happy when I hear them pages turn. That's just me. Nothing against digital, you know, apps and assistants and all of that. I don't have anything against it. But when you're talking about, yeah, somebody can put my hand on, then that's when you're talking my language. All right. So we're looking for, in a dictionary, you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, S, segregation, SESEL. Keep going. Segregation. All right. Segregation. Enforced segregation of racial groups in a community. Segregate. Let's break it on down. I told you all big words have little words. So let's see what segregate means. Put apart from the rest. Isolate. Separate from a mass and collect together. Separate into dominant and recessive groups. Now, I ain't got no problem with segregating. Like you do, me and mine go over here, you and yours go over there. I have no problem with that. What I do have a problem is the thought of Jim Crow, the initial reasoning behind it was it is separate but equal. But there's a problem with that. Because, yeah, it was separate, but it wasn't equal. And let's look up the word equal. All right, we're going to pull this dictionary out again, y'all. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E. All right, we're in the E's. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O. Can y'all tell I was a pre-K teacher for many years? P, equal. Q, R, S. Q, Q, Q. Here we go. Q, Q, Q. Equal. Equal is the same in quantity, quality, size, degree, rank, level. evenly balanced, having the same rights or status. That's equal. So it was separate. White people was over here, black people was over there, but it wasn't equal. Access, opportunity, um, all of those things, just a simple, basic way of life that was equal to what white people had. And it's not, I'm not angry anymore about that. I'm not jealous. You know, because guess what? We still okay. We still have been able to be victorious. And I think for our country, and what a lot of people are really being shook by, is they are understanding how it has been for us. However, we have not only survived, we've thrived, we've excelled because we've always had to have very little, if not anything, to begin with. Right? All right, so here we go. So we're going to talk about one of the major leagues. It was called a national pastime, and that was baseball. Baseball was a national pastime in this era. Okay, 1940s. Um, they were separate, all right. You had three leagues. You had the major leagues, you had the minor leagues, and you had the Negro leagues. I don't have to say nothing there. It was separate, but it definitely wasn't equal. The major leaguers, got to stay in nice hotels and got to travel and have all of these lush and plush amenities, right? But the Negro League barely could afford. They didn't even have a ride. They had to find their own way to play in the game. But that was not without. Doesn't mean that they didn't outshine the major league teams. When the white teams would play against the black teams, the black teams usually won. And someone recognized that. His name was Branch Rickey. And he was a general manager for the Brooklyn Dodgers. And he saw the prejudice within baseball. And he saw an opportunity to integrate that into our American history. So he was a scout. In the 1920s, he created the system called farm teams, where he would go out and find talent to play in the major leagues, right? He was very good at that. It says, again, his name was Branch Rickey. Look it up. Y'all think I'm lying? Look it up. Okay. It's all the history is right in there. It's on the page. So look it up. He knew how to pick them. The back in this, it says, black ball players then were a pool of inexpensive talent. A pool of inexpensive talent. They had physical and natural abilities that caused them to be able to excel in sports. They played an exciting, hustling kind of baseball. Sounds about right. Sounds about right to me. And they would bring a huge new black audience to the majors. But however, Mr. Rickey knew that if he was going to bring this kind of change, oh yeah, sorry about the noise outside. My window is open. If he was going to bring this kind of change to this national pastime of baseball, he would need to find a ball player who was a great athlete, but also a great person. And he found that in Roosevelt Robinson, Jackie Robinson, who we all know. He was at UCLA. He was from UCLA. He had played. He was smart, gotten his education. He was an officer in the Army. I did not know this. I didn't learn this until to today. He was an officer in the Army, and Robinson refused to move when a bus driver asked him to sit in the back of the bus, where blacks were expected to sit to make a point. Separate, but not equal. Now, I don't have a problem with sitting in the back of the bus, but it's the expectation that I'm supposed to sit in the back of the bus because white people are supposed to sit in the front. That's the problem. It's not about, and I think we have to really focus on what we're doing here and what we're saying. And if you're saying that, I believe that I deserve this as a white person, and you don't because you are a Black person, that is a problem. That is a problem. And that's racism. That's discrimination 101. Okay. And I have never been bothered by you feeling some type of way about me. I've never been bothered by that. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is you come to me to tell me how you feel about me. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna give myself 2 more minutes to tell me how you feel about me. And I am expected to act differently or fall in line accordingly. That's not ever gonna happen. I go where I'm tolerated, where I'm celebrated, and I'm appreciated. Period. I know my value, I know my worth, I know what I have to offer. And that is in every level, in everything that I do as a Black woman. And I have to say, if it had not been for people, Black, white, and whoever, green, yellow, purple, red, blue, all the colors of the rainbow, if it had not been for people who saw this, took opportunity to change some of the images and ideas and the stereotypes that were here, I would not be able to do the things that I'm doing, standing flat foot, 10 toes down. So we talked about Jackie Robinson today. I'm not going to go into all of, you want to know some more because it's a lot about him and how just his own advocacy and standing up for him and his people changed the game of baseball and changed our country. All right, y'all. I'm out. Peace out. Look it up. Bye bye.